Direct our focus to stories making headlines on the African continent. Africa's richest woman and the daughter of Angola's former president is facing fraud charges in her country. At the same time, Lesotho Prime Minister Thabane has stepped down. Police are currently looking for his wife to question her about the death of Thabane's ex-wife. So we're joined now on the line for a discussion by Ottilia Maunganidze from the Institute for Security Studies. Ottilia, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Two harrowing stories coming from the African continent. I'd like us to tackle the one of a woman who was known as the Princess. Speaking there about Isabel dos Santos. When we're looking at where allegations are currently at leveled against her, is there a way out at this moment?
If any way out, it would be extremely difficult for her. The allegations so far that have come from the Prosecutor General, but also based on investigations by a number of media houses, already show that things don't look too good for her. And it goes beyond now just the allegations around money laundering and fraud, but also the concerns based on the fact that her banker was recently found dead. There are concerns that have been raised around how that happened and whether or not there would be an inquest in Portugal about that as well.
I mean, she's been accused of various things: money laundering, we've also got the embezzlement, the influence, peddling that happened during an 18-month tenure at San Angola, which is, of course, the oil company there that she headed during her father's tenure as president. She's refuted the claims and actually said that the people are after a witch hunt and that actually it's politically motivated. What do we make of that?
Yes, she has sort of come out quite strongly against these allegations, but at the same time, she's not the only person that has been implicated or that has been listed as suspect. The range of people, including now the late banker from Eurobic, but also a number of other people associated with the bank of Fomento in Angola, as well as a number of consulting firms. So this is not just about her, and I think ultimately, given the extent to which, as you called her earlier, the princess was able to amass so much wealth, the suspicion at the very least will be there. And I think the questions around why the focus is only on that 18-month period and doesn't stretch back to even before Angola is something maybe that we'll yet to see. This could just be the start of one of the biggest cases that Angola is going to have to deal with.
I mean, from Angola, let's move on over to Lesotho there, when we're looking at the fact that Lesotho could possibly be facing its fourth general election in literally just a decade, and this is as a result of Thabane since a step down. But of course, his wife is currently on the run, not wanting to face questions regarding the allegations and the circumstances surrounding the death of the former Prime Minister's ex-wife.
Lesotho's case is perhaps even more curious than Angola. Here, we've got the Prime Minister who himself is not without controversy even before the death of the former First Lady. And now you're looking at a country that's been struggling very hard to keep a government going. At the moment, they've got a coalition government that really does depend on an overwhelming support, not only from the soon-to-be former Prime Minister, Thabane, but also from his party. And so what Lesotho faces beyond the issues around investigating the death of the former Prime Minister is the potential for a constitutional crisis. What happens now as the Prime Minister leaves office, but also with the rising calls for the government itself to be dissolved and for Parliament to be dissolved. And that goes, it's for any country, not just for Lesotho, political stability is key. Having a 5-year period where you're essentially going through a government every sort of 16 months is simply not tenable. There does need to be some stability in Lesotho. And as viewers will know, Lesotho's stability is important for Lesotho as it is for neighboring South Africa and the rest of the region as well.
I mean, I want us to speak a little bit holistically about the way in which African governance and the trajectory with which it's on. I mean, we're looking at, right now, Isabel dos Santos' case and the fact that her father was literally at the helm of Angola for some 38 years. Then we're looking at the other side of it, Lesotho, where literally they're calling it almost like a Lady Macbeth kind of situation here, where they're blaming significantly on his marital status and the influence with his wife has had on his ability to even govern the country and even be a leader in that sense. It raises such important aspects about leadership in the African context, but also how leaders need to start evolving with the times, and maybe should leaders be at the helm for so long? I mean, 38 years on behalf of Angola, which is absolutely, it seems quite impossible at this moment.
Yes, I think you've raised a very important question, not just about leadership, but more importantly around accountable leadership and about accountability. And I think, whatever we might say about what's happening in Lesotho and likewise in Angola, the one thing that we are seeing in both countries is efforts towards accountability, whether that is criminal accountability or social and civil accountability. We are seeing that. And I think for the rest of the continent as well, these are two cases now in 2020, but we've seen over the past number of years this move not only from society but also from institutions trying to make sure that leadership isn't just presumed, that people, where for whatever reason either they steal from the state or commit crimes while they're in office, that we see a push towards accountability. And hopefully that will be the trend going forward, that we don't backtrack on that, and that there's a little bit more consistency on what we regard as leadership on the African continent and what we do in instances where that leadership fails.
Yeah.